Here we are here for our program, Entrepreneurship in Focus. How are you guys doing? I had a busy day, and I know many of you guys had a busy day as well. I appreciate some of you taking time off from your Christmas cleaning to be here to join in with us on this program to be able to learn. Remember to share the live stream so that other people can be able to hear the information. And for those of you joining, welcome to our edition of Entrepreneurship in Focus. This is our third edition. Entrepreneurship in Focus is a program designed to place a spotlight on entrepreneurs in Guyana and the international arena, with a special emphasis on their unique, innovative components. It is our expectation that through our interviews, we'll be able to learn from the experiences of the businesses and be able to support them and understand what they do and the persons behind these businesses. Joining me tonight is a special guest. We have a young man in studio. He has been in business for a number of years. So tonight I encourage all of you to make the most out of the opportunities to ask questions. Type your questions in the chat so that we can be able to answer them and provide you with information so that you can be able to grow. If you know anybody who's a small business owner, reach out to them and say you need to log into the program tonight, because tonight is going to be on fire. Yes, tonight is going to be on fire. So our guest tonight, Mr. Glenn Lawachi, he is the managing director and one of the founders of Glass, and he is going to tell us about himself. So welcome to our program, Mr. Lawachi.
Thank you, Marlon, and good night to all your listeners and viewers. I want to say thank you for having me on your program tonight, and I'm looking forward to the engagement that we'll have, and hopefully with ourselves and the listeners as well.
Yes, it's a pleasure. So tell us a bit about yourself. Who is Glenn Lawachi?
Sure. Well, currently I'm serving as the managing director for Guyana Logistics and Support Services Inc., or as we are more commonly known, Glass.
Yes.
Glass is a logistics and services company working in the oil and gas industry. In fact, this month, we celebrated our 11th year in business.
Congratulations.
So just to put that in context, we would have had a major oil discovery in 2015, but we actually have been in business about 5 years before that.
Interesting.
Yeah. Basically, it's an interesting story how we came about, because a number of us came together and we actually saw the need for an oil and gas services company.
Okay, so this is before 2015?
Yes, this was before 2015. Okay. I used to work for an oil company and in 2010, and basically there wasn't any of the services that they required in country. So a couple of us came together, and I like to say that we took a leap of faith, and we incorporated Glass, and we started from there. It wasn't always easy, because what happened, as you know, from the period from 2012 to around 2015, there wasn't anything really going on in the oil industry.
Yes.
So in fact, the company went through a very, I would say, strenuous time, where we were just down to 2 employees, myself and our operations manager, Troy. So we kind of just kept the company afloat. And in 2015, Exxon found oil, obviously. And since then, the company has grown tremendously. Today we are about 150 employees.
Impressive.
Yeah, 9 to 5, I think 98% of which are Guyanese. The company is ISO 9001 certified. And interesting thing about Guyana Logistics is the day-to-day operations of the company. It's all managed by young people, actually young people in our 30s.
Okay.
So that's an interesting fact. And about I would like to think about maybe 50 to 55% of our labor force, they're females. So we kind of been in the industry here, and providing several services to the oil and gas industry. And some of the services that we provide, the big ones would be manpower and recruitment services.
Yes.
We do warehousing and inventory management, and supply chain management, and then we do in-country support or relocation, whereby it includes people who are coming into Guyana to live here. We assist them with basically whatever services they would require, be it housing, utilities, opening a bank account, and that kind of thing. So the company has grown quite significantly over the years, and I think based on where the trajectory of the country is heading, I think we have some very good years ahead of us if we continue to do the right things. That is.
Yes. So how do small businesses be able to benefit from works that you guys may be able to have? For instance, transportation.
Yeah, that's interesting because we actually use probably the last time I checked, we have about 150 local vendors.
Okay.
That we use for various items. Be it transportation, be it procurement, catering services, and it's a wide range of service. But our model is actually we try to use as much as possible Guyanese companies, and where possible bring them up to a standard where we're all providing the same level or the same quality of service, both to us and our clients by extension. Yeah.
So what's the onboarding process like for somebody?
So basically, we have a website and an email address there. You can reach out to that, and you can reach out to us, and we will walk you through the process. There's a couple of forms that you have to fill out, but in most cases, our procurement department actually have a good database of Guyanese companies, because we're all Guyanese, and if you know Guyana, it's a small place. Everybody know everybody. What we might not be aware of, it's smaller startups. And because they're probably not out there. I'll give you an example. Last night I was coming back. Sunday night I was coming back to Guyana, and there was a guy there, a young man, and we started to chat at the airport. Turns out he has a business, Superior Foods, I think it is. So he gave me his card, and I'm like, okay. So when I came in, I put his card. I came in, I gave it to the folks in procurement and said, hey, call this young man. Bring him in. Let's have a meeting with him. See what services he can offer. Perhaps we can assist him in filling some gaps. Maybe where we see he needs to improve on, so that we can now onboard him and basically use his service, and in turn, the service will be to our clients. Yeah.
I love the fact that you guys are doing so much to ensure that local businesses and persons are able to develop as you grow. And I noted you would have mentioned about some of the struggles that you guys face. Could you elaborate a bit so that we can understand like some of, at least two of the major challenges?
I think as a Guyanese company starting out, one of your major challenge that you have, it's obviously finances.
Yes.
And I think that's probably one of the major challenge that most Guyanese company would have, access to finance. To be honest with you, I mean, I'm talking to your listeners and the young entrepreneurs here. It's not an easy thing to deal with. It kept me up at nights a lot of time. But there's a couple of things that we did that was right. First and foremost, I think it helped given the fact that my background is auditing and accounting.
Okay.
So, but if I didn't have that background, I don't think we would have been able to manage the way we did. So I'm just talking to the audience here. I mean, one of the things that you can do, it's really just understand basic financial planning. That is your cash flows, in and out. Cash coming in, what I'm able to pay, what I'm not able to pay. And actually it's a learning process for me as well. But so some of the things that we did was meticulously plan our cash flows.
Okay.
Till this day, we still do it. We plan it down to the sense. We have 4 weeks look ahead every week. So
Okay,
every week we're
interesting.
updating our 4 weeks look ahead.
Mhm.
One of the things that we've had to do though was get our guys trained on that part, because I think most people aren't accustomed to that kind of thing.
No.
And if you the industry that we work in, the oil and gas industry, is actually very cash intensive. So you've got to plan your finances meticulously. As regard access to finance, obviously we use the bank for financing. I know that can be a challenge, but actually the banks usually have all their requirements there. Most of the times what happens is that you kind of fall short on one or two of them.
Yes.
When you fall short, it kind of hinders you from not getting full access to the bank. But we didn't start big. We asked for a small amount. We honor our obligations, and then you ask for a little bit more. You ask for a little bit more, and it's a relationship that you build with the bank over time. And we have a very good relationship with the banks now, where we have an overdraft facility, we have a project line, and that kind of thing. And trust me, those things really help you navigate, financially. If it is that you need capex to start, or you need an inflow of cash, you can always consider selling shares. Is what we did. When Exxon found out in 2015, we actually sold a bunch of shares to a foreign company so that we can get that funds in, so that we can actually use it for our operations, and kind of, this is what we need to do. We need to prepare for the oil and gas industry, and we kind of did that. And sometimes it actually entails you taking a salary cut. We took salary cuts and all of that, just to ensure that the bills were paid.
Yes.
And yeah.
I can relate, because managing a small business is not easy. Many times you have to be on the grind to be able to earn an income and to be able to pay your bills.
Yes.
And I love the fact that you stress the importance of having systems and planning.
Yeah.
Because many small business owners, from my interaction, they just live from average. They don't plan anything.
No.
They don't even strategize,
Right.
so that they can have a grip on their supply chain. And because they don't do those things, they end up in difficulties, and the business oftentimes fails.
Yes.
And then we would have persons saying finances are a challenge. But how can you effectively say that access to finance is a challenge if you don't have the systems that account for the monies that comes to your organization or your business, and be able to differentiate what is the business from what is yours?
Yeah, correct.
So that is something that is very much relevant. You have to pay attention, and you have to plan.
To add to that, I think as a one of the things that we did very early back in the days, it's record everything. You see, sometimes as a small business, you just tend to spend, and you get a big, you probably get a big sale, and you have some cash in it. Like, I'm going to buy this, I'm going to do this. But then when if you actually recorded that, and you sat and you did very, you can even write them. You write them down. Okay, this is I have this, but then I have this bill to pay, that bill to pay. The company needs a laptop or something like that, and you'll actually see it. Just having that written down and having a record of it. Two things it does. It helps you to plan, but also when you're going for finances, what do they ask for? They ask for your accounts, right? They need your records and that kind of thing. So if you don't have a record, then you have nothing to show. And then I think, if you can't show anything, they will be like, well, when you get your books in order.
So that you can take to the bank, and they can see how you're spending, and be able to...
Well, right, you're absolutely right. I mean, if you put yourself in the position, I think you don't need to be afraid of the bank force. I think some people think that, it's too rigorous, right? But I mean, what you need to understand is the bank, that's their business. They make money by lending you money.
Yes.
But obviously there are some criteria that has to be met. And any business that you're going into or you're starting, if you don't have a plan, you need to get one now.
Yes.
Because you will be like, anywhere the wind blows, that's where you'll be. But you have to I think have some sort of plan and write it. Even if you can't do a PowerPoint presentation, just write it down. Yeah.
And that is why they also encourage persons before you get into business to understand your skills and your weaknesses. Because like you have a background in accounting and finance, and that is how you were able to plan and guide your business effectively.
Yes.
So you're able to work if you know that you're going to spend X amount, you're going to ensure that you don't go and overspend and so on.
Yeah.
And that skill would have worked to your advantage. So likewise, persons need to understand their strengths and their weaknesses. I see a question here, and is the logistics the main portal for oil and gas folks to solicit services from?
Is the
Is Guyana Logistics the main portal for the oil and gas folks to solicit services?
No. The oil and gas industry, it's an open industry. Anybody can enter that industry. In fact, if you want to, Exxon has what we call the Center for Local Business Development. I think Glass was one of the first companies to sign up at the center. As soon as Exxon said this company is going to help business get into the oil and gas industry, we were there. And what they do, they have various courses. I think from supply chain management, they even have an introductory course. I don't know if they have it now, but I remember when we did it, they had an introductory course to the oil and gas industry. They have an introductory course. They still have it, right? And they are very nice folks there. You just gotta show up there, and they give you the attention that you need. So the oil and gas industry is not Guyana Logistics is a service company working for companies in the oil and gas sphere or in the industry, but we also do work outside of that for other. But our target market is the oil and gas industry and expats company that are coming or looking to set up operations here in Guyana, right? But regarding the industry, anyone can get into the industry. Yeah, and a good place to start is getting registered with the Center for Local Business Development, because when you do that, you'll have access to all the bids and that kind of thing, and then you can see, like I said earlier, your strengths. If I'm good at procurement, there are lots of opportunities for procurement there. Yeah.
Awesome. So with all of these that you're doing, all of these works, I heard that you guys would have recently been awarded for something. I think it was from the Chamber of Commerce.
No, we got an award. The last award that I remember we got was from Halliburton. They had their recent vendor recognition, and we were one of Halliburton's critical vendor in Guyana, and they gave us an award. What we had earlier this year was something called continuous improvement.
Okay.
So we took a look at our operations, our people, our processes, and our technology, and we basically looked at what was happening. We applied some methods to that, and we implemented them. So we had some massive increase in terms of our effectiveness to our operations. So it made things very, very much more smooth and effective. And Halliburton recognized us for that, which was kind of like a big deal for us. Yeah.
So there's another question for persons who are experiencing difficulties with their business right now, and they're thinking about giving up. What advice would you give to them?
Actually, there's only one thing you need in this is just my personal experience. You only need determination. I know people tell you that you need discipline, you need various stuff. If you're an employee, you need discipline. Everybody is disciplined in some form or fashion. Some people are more disciplined than some. The only thing that I found that you need is determination. You just can't give up, and you've got to find what your determination is, because it can mean different thing for different people. For me, I grew up very poor, and I didn't want my family to do the same thing. Hence, I was determined to succeed at whatever cost. And in business, failure is normal. It's a normal part. Yeah, I mean, you fail all the time. If you met me 5-6 years ago, I didn't have so much grade. Yeah, right? So, so I'm just giving you an example. It's stressful, but it's worth it. The rewards are there. Um, you know, what we do now is because, or what we've achieved now is because simply because we were disciplined, to not give up, to improve every time we did something. I remember when we started out, we failed a lot, a lot. We failed so much contracts. We were never awarded anything, and you know it and at a certain point it's just become normal. All right, well we'll just go for the other one, right? So if you're struggling in your business, I would say have the discipline to not give up. Just continue, and inevitably you will have success.
Awesome. There's a popular quote that says you don't have to be great to get started, but you have to get started to become great.
Yeah.
And that quote is very significant, is very relevant. Challenges are going to come, but you have to persevere, you have to be determined. And you don't have to get all of it well put together to be able to start and to be able to succeed. You can start and you can learn in the way or along the journey, because the process helps to inform who you are and helps to give your business the kind of stability, because you will fail and you will know what not to do to be able to learn what is it you need to do to be able to be on the right path.
Yeah.
So what systems do you think the government can put in place to promote entrepreneurship and to be able to look after businesses effectively?
Well, first and foremost, I have to say, I think for the first time in our history, that I can see. But I guess I put it in context. Usually, the private sector is ahead of the public sector, right? For the first time in history, I see the private and the public sector, they're like running at the same pace, which to me is such an unbelievable thing, right? And in some cases, the public sector is ahead of the private sector. So if we continue on the path that we are on, whereby the private and the public sector are working hand in hand, I can see that as being a recipe for success. I mean, I know we're probably not going to get everything at the same time, but for me, at the end of the day, you can't have everything at the same time. Certain key things are being put in place. I saw our president gave a presentation at I think it's one of these conferences, and I know, and he said that if you want access to finance from the bank, I'll do that. The banks are here, but you have to have your business plan. So I think it's a hand in hand kind of thing, right? But I'm very satisfied with what I see in terms of the roads being built. The infrastructure is there. We had local content legislation. I mean, we could have done with that maybe 5 years ago, but whatever. But we had that. It's wonderful. I can see. I mean, we have benefited from the local content legislation, right? And I think once I know they're saying that that's a work in progress. They're going to refine it. So at this point in time, I'm very satisfied from a business perspective. So I think if we continue to work together and move at that same pace, the country will be a different country really, really soon. Yeah.
So the small business owners who wants to do business with you guys, do they have to also have their local content certification?
No, they don't, because we will do our own due diligence with them. If for instance, because in most cases it's not possible for them, because what happens is that glasses, first and foremost, glass is like a tier 2 contractor. So we use local people, and their primary business is not oil and gas, right? So they don't need a local content certificate, but our primary business is oil and gas. So in order for the tier 1 contractors or the operators to do business with us, we need it, right? But let's say, for instance, if you're buying stuff from let's say I'll just give you a very a locally owned business. We, we don't require them to have a local content. So it's cakes we're buying for our hampers, or we might even subcontract a small company, or you go with the apple and grape and whatever it is, Yeah, but if you reached a certain level and a certain stage, I suppose, you would have to, if you're working directly for the oil and gas company and you fall within, I think, one of those 40 categories that the local content legislation requires you to whatever degree or percentage is in there, then you'll have to get your certificate. Yeah, but we work with a lot of local companies, or even entrepreneurs.
Okay.
Yeah.
So in other words,
but we can help them get the local content. I mean, if ever anybody ever needs one, so let's say they want to go directly after contracts. I mean, our staff, folks, they know what to do, and we can certainly offer some guidance. Yeah, if anybody wanted.
Okay. So you mentioned about you guys being able to significantly benefit from the local content law. For persons who still have reservations about it, what would you say to them?
It's a start, right? And it's better to have that than not have nothing at all. And like I said, I mean, I don't know what those reservations are, but for companies like us who have been working in the industry, we welcome it, right? But I think the I remember they saying, like, when they did the presentation, it's a living document, and from time to time, because remember, the country is going to build capacity, so obviously you're going to at some point in time, the 40 items there might be 50, whatever, and maybe they might fine tune a few items, or a few clauses or whatever. But if you have reservation, they're actually the secretariat and various, like the Georgetown Chamber. I know the private sector had an engagement the other day. It's usually there, and you can actually go there and says, hey, you can comment on what your whatever reservation you have, and I'm sure the folks will listen to you and provide some feedback.
Because what one person shared to me was that they're coming with all of their skills and their expertise, and they're coming and they are encouraged, or according to the law, they have to give away at least 51% of their business to the Guyanese, so that they can be able to benefit from work or services from the oil and gas sector. And according to them, some of the people that are here in Guyana, they are not equipped with the knowledge, skills, and abilities to perform the role, and that company has to end up doing every single thing.
Well, probably they have the wrong partner, right? I mean, that's what I would say, right? I mean, I don't know who, but it's exactly that. The purpose of the local content legislation is to build local capacity and to let a local company benefit. So actually, you have a choice. You cannot come, but if you fall under those 40 categories, the purpose of it is so that you can partner with a local company, and it's actually a beneficial partnership. I mean, it literally is just a 2% difference. Yeah, it's not a big deal. But finding the right partner, that's a whole different conversation, right? We were talking about I mean, if you have a partner, and let's say you and I are in business, and you're not pulling your weight, well, then, okay, it's not working. I'm going to go find another partner, right? Indeed. Yeah, because at the end of the day, it's business. And in order for both of us to succeed, we've got to do our part. But in terms of saying that, well, I have to train Guyanese and you're not equipped, that's fine, because that is what the local content law allows companies to do. And I can tell you that just from our business, that Guyanese are more than capable. Yeah, we're equipped. So probably I would say they somehow they didn't mesh with their partner, Yeah.
Well, I love the fact that the law is in place, because I personally believe it is time for Guyanese to benefit. Many times we go all parts of the world and we're treated like next to nothing. And this law allows for an opportunity for us to develop and us to grow and us to have first preference in
Yes.
the development that is happening here.
Yes.
So
As it
I
should be.
commend the government and the private sector and all those who would have worked towards making that law a possibility, and look forward to whatever it is that they have that will continue to advance businesses in Guyana and protect the people.
Yeah.
So tell us where we can find Glass.
Okay, we're on all social media. Facebook, we have a website, GuyanaLogistics.com, and our offices are located at 87 Barak Street, Kingston. It's a colonial building, and it's next to Lifestyle Boutique, I think. Yes, Lifestyle Boutique, and it has a big Guyana Logistics sign. If you're passing by the holidays, I think they have a Grinch theme going on there. So yeah, you will see the Whoville. Yeah, it's there. Yeah.
Okay, so and for persons, is there a number that persons can call to be able to reach you guys?
226-4090.
226-4090.
Yeah.
Anything else you'd like
And
to share?
the website info at GuyanaLogistics.com. Yeah, but actually, if you go to our Facebook page, that's the best way to to reach us. Everybody is accessible through Facebook. Yeah.
Awesome. Anything you'd like to share with our viewers before we wrap up?
But yeah, I mean, well, first and foremost, thank you to your listeners for giving me the opportunity to share our story, share my story. But I know the name is Entrepreneur in Focus, and I just want to close by saying that if entrepreneurship was easy, everybody would do it. So it's not. It's a
Not for the faint of heart.
right. It's a difficult thing in the beginning. Because I say in the beginning, because if you have the discipline to push through, and to wake up every morning and just not forget, but say, I have these challenges today. This is what I can do to deal with them. And remember, your entrepreneurship development is a continuous continuous
Process,
exercise and process. I was talking to you about finances. I still read books of finance every day. Right now I'm reading one which I would encourage any entrepreneur to do. It's called The Richest Man in Babylon.
Interesting. I've heard of it before.
Right. It's a very layman term, but it's interesting how you can manage your finances. Because although I would say our revenues are up and we're profitable, we still face the same exact issues. I'm gonna more expense, more some. I'm continuously improving on that, and I know that's a lot of entrepreneurs' first challenge. Once you get over that hurdle, you're gonna face things with employees and finding and building your team, finding your clientele, finding your niche. Those are things that you kind of figure out. But if you have the discipline to continue with it and don't give up, I guarantee you, at some point in time, you probably could find me at some sense. I remember you told me the discipline to not give up, and I didn't, and now I'm having success because it inevitably happens. Yeah.
I'm happy that you were able to join us tonight because I personally learned a lot, and even though I know you for quite a number of years, I'm able to get to know you a bit more, and our viewers, they certainly enjoyed it. I'm seeing their comments. I'd like to thank you for taking time off from your busy schedule, particularly around Christmas time. And I know that you guys are balancing the books and getting into budget and projections. And you took time off to come here to interact with us, and we're most grateful. I'd like to thank our viewers and our listeners for joining and for taking time off from their schedule to be here with us on another Tuesday night. Remember, Entrepreneurship in Focus, we're on every Tuesday night from 8:30 to 9:30. You guys can tell a friend to look out for us. If you guys know of any business owners or entrepreneurs who you think you'd want to hear from, or you think would benefit from this program, you can recommend them so that we can do an interview with them. You can let them join into our program so that they can learn from what we have in store. and they can participate with us and we can get to know each other and support each other. I'd like to thank the persons behind our technical people for doing a phenomenal job, Miss Lewis and team, for making this program available to us. And of course, if you guys are enjoying this program and you are excited or eager to see this program continue, you can reach out to Guyanese Critic, you can reach out to me, you can reach out to this page so that we can you can sponsor the program and we can have this program going on for a longer period of time. You can feel free to reach me on 652-1959. I am your host, Marla Joseph, and we're signing out. Remember to have an enjoyable holiday, and we see you next week. Next week, we've got a special guest who will be here, and that guest is eager to come on board and to share what they have, particularly for the holiday season. So, goodbye and do take care.